All right, welcome everyone. How are we doing today? As always, thank you for tuning in to the Max Schmarzo podcast. We got a fun one today. We're going to be diving into some of the most underrated pieces of training equipment according to social media, actually more specifically, Strength Coach Twitter. Dun 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 dun. We're going to dive into what people said were the most underrated pieces of equipment. But first and foremost, as always, if you'd like to dive into some training like an athlete, well, you might want to check out the Always an Athlete training team. That's a team I have that's programmed for 6 days a week. You get a 7-day free trial when you sign up. We're actually moving into a unilateral phase. If you're listening to this podcast now and not somewhere in the future, obviously, if you listen to this a week from now or a month from now or a year from now, it's not going to be the same phase, but you get the idea. We go through different phases, different training blocks. We're having a unilateral one coming up as we finish up our strength phase here. And so if you guys want to check it out, the Always an Athlete training team on the Train Heroic app that has a 7-day free trial, you can give it a go. So let's just hop right into it. We're diving into the question of, I posed a question out there, was the most underrated piece of training equipment out there. You know, I love the deadlift and the squat machine from Powerlift. That is one of my favorite pieces of equipment. I love the K-Box from Eccentrics. I love different pieces of equipment. I love the XPT. I love good safety bars. So I wanted to ask you out there, all the people out there, what you think is the most underrated piece of equipment. Now, underrated is a key word. I said underappreciated as well. But underrated means a piece of equipment might have high value, but if you hold it to a higher value than what it's actually rated at, that's overrated. So underrated is not just merely something that's useful, but something that, according to if you were to buy it as a stock, you will. You're bullish, I should say, bullish on it. You think it's an asset that has more value than what's currently priced at. So let's dive into some of the answers, and I'll give you my responses. So off the bat, we have a slant board. Now, I used to think a slant board, those are things, if you guys don't know at home, a slight elevation. A slant board kind of looks like a very long right triangle. It has a very long hypotenuse to it. I remember that, Pythagoras theorem. And it has, you put your heels on it or your feet on it with your toes pointing towards the ground, your heels up on the slant. So it gives you greater, in theory, plantar flexion and ankle flexion. So that is horrible. It's not plantar, ankle flexion, Max. Greater dorsiflexion. My goodness, I can't speak today or think. Greater dorsiflexion because it puts you in a greater plantar flex position. In other words, your toes are pointing down a little bit more when you start. So you have more room for those knees to travel forward as you go down to a squat, because a lot of times people lack range of motion in the ankle. That affects their squat. So slant board. Now, again, back in the day, maybe the slant board was underrated. I'd have to say nowadays it's a little bit overrated. That's my personal vote. A little bit overrated. Is it helpful? Yeah, absolutely. Have I used it? 1000%. Have I used it and found it beneficial? Absolutely. But in the current public sphere, I would say it's a little bit overrated because it's not something I really use that often. I don't really think the value relative to the amount of times I see it on social media and throughout the world is as high as it is. So I vote personally a little bit overrated, but not useless, not at all. Number 2, a calculator. Interesting. I understand where it's coming from because understanding your percentages of your lifts is really important. And I would say that it is fairly underrated. And it's really underrated for the average gym goer. The average gym goer, a lot of times just throws weight on and, hopes for the best. They sometimes lack progression and planning. But having a calculator allows you to be a little more precise. And sometimes that precision allows for more accuracy in your progress, understanding how things are progressing. Here's an example. You might say 85% of your 1-rep max is something you can lift for 5 reps. Now, let's say today you did 190 pounds, and then a month from now, you did 200 pounds for 5 reps. Instead of just saying I got better by 10 pounds, you can actually divide that 200 pounds by 85% because for 5 reps, that's what 85% is. And you can calculate the actual percentage your 1-rep max is supposed to be. And in doing that, you can actually measure progress a little better, as opposed to saying, I got better at the number of reps and sets, because it be comparative. Because what you can do is you can do something for like, hey, 10 reps is 75%, 8 reps is, let's just say 80%. This is off the top of my head. 5 reps is 85%. 2 reps is 90%. Cool. Now I can measure, am I doing more? Am I actually making progress in terms of my 1 rep max based on lifting different weights for different reps? And you can calculate that. So I agree. Underrated. I'll go there. Music for spatial temporal progressive overload. Now, this is a cool one. So let me explain what that is. Spatial temporal. I can't speak. Spatial temporal basically just means you're using music in the tempo of the music as a means to overload the movement pattern. So maybe you're doing plyometrics, and Paul Fabrics has talked about this as well. Maybe doing a ball handling skill, which is one he's really talked about, as you have a tempo set up, and you might use a metronome or you might use music, and you have a pace, and you're going to jump side to side, or you're going to dribble at this specific pace. That is a great idea, because now you've changed the cueing from internal to external. You're going back and forth, and to challenge the pace, you can also then increase the tempo. This is actually used quite a bit with stride frequency in running. I believe on Spotify, there are stride frequency playlists where all the beats fit a specific stride frequency. This can really help people understand how they are moving in a way they couldn't otherwise understand how they are moving. So I found that to be a really cool one, very helpful, very useful, and very overrated by a lot. It's a high value asset at a low price right now. That's something you don't see that is extremely useful, extremely useful. Someone said a timing system. Yep, absolutely. Now, sprint timing systems, jump systems, any measurement system at all, anything with feedback system is extremely underrated still, in my opinion. Yes, you see it a lot on social media. But it's one of the few things you can do that increases your performance without you having to do anything different in your training. Just getting feedback as to how fast the bar is moving, how fast you are moving is going to help you perform better. It's in the same way if you shoot jump shots and you didn't know if they went in or not. Imagine if you were out there shooting jump shots and you didn't know if the ball went in the hoop or not. You didn't have any feedback. This is basically what this bar feedback or speed feedback does. It gives you feedback as to whether or not the ball went in the hoop or whether or not you're moving it fast enough. Excellent. Someone posted a sidewalk. Okay, that's fair. Just going for walks. Maybe it's supposed to be for a walk. Maybe it's like a play on words, like a sidewalk, like during the day, on the side of your day, you're taking a walk, kind of like a side meal. That's not a snack. It's like a snack workout, a short exercise. I think going for a walk is really helpful. I agree. I think that's underrated from a psychology standpoint. You have a great opportunity to get away from your phone, to think about stuff. It's a great way to accumulate little bits of exercise that add up. General health benefits are fabulous. Also, in the picture he sent, there is some grass next to the sidewalk. And so maybe we're just saying a little bit just outdoors in general. So I think grass are extremely useful as well. Grasses, different surfaces. How about that? We'll go different surfaces are useful. The landmine. I am not a big landmine fan. I'm not. Hot take. Max, not a big landmine fan. Boy, I think they're overrated. Actually, I think the loading isn't as much as you could really get if you had other options. I think they're fairly versatile. At the same time, they're not versatile because they're stuck on a pivot. I think they don't allow for the most stable form of loading. I don't like how they grip very well if I'm just using my hands to use it. I'm just honestly, I don't really use the landmine that much in my training at all. Boy, people aren't going to like to hear that. I'm bearish on landmine. My forecasting for landmines are bearish. I think there's better options. I really do. Can they be useful for certain things? Yeah, absolutely. In the grand scheme of things, as an asset, I think they are overrated. But I'll give you this. No, I'm not going to give you that. Not at all. Overrated. Dun, dun, dun. That's the verdict. Seated adductor machine. I actually haven't used a seated adductor machine. I can see how it can be underrated because adductor strains are a common issue quite a bit. Training the adductors is difficult, especially with load. Using a little bit of band tension is not really going to do it for you. I can see how a seated adductor machine allows for stability, allows for overload. If that's an issue you have to address, then I can see it being very useful. So seated adductor machine, and most machines, be honest, most machines, not all, most, some, few machines, some plus few machines are underrated. But I guess it's based on your situation. The medicine ball. I think a medicine ball is adequately rated. Not overrated, not underrated, not overappreciated, not underappreciated. I believe medicine balls have found their equilibrium. At one point in time, they were underrated. At another point in time, they were extremely overrated. I think the pendulum is right where it should be on a medicine ball. I'll leave it there. Leg extension machines. Leg extension machines have one of the weirdest histories. They got a lot of love, and then they absolutely got kicked to the curb. Booed out of the stadium. No one wanted to touch a leg. You were a bad trainer. When I came up as a strength coach, a wee lad strength coach, learning my ways, if you used a leg machine, you might as well not even go to the gym. Hand in your credentials right now if you're using a leg extension machine. That's how leg extension machines are treated. They're poison. They're toxic. They are the quickest way to get you booted out of the strength coach world. Have they made a massive comeback? Yes, absolutely. Are they underrated? I like them a lot. I don't know what the public says of them. That's kind of the issue. So I think they could be underrated. They're not overrated. Not anymore. And they probably are underrated. I give them an underrated, especially for what you can use them for and why you would use them. But man, they just got absolutely pooped on when I was coming up. Oh, that and a leg press. If you did a leg press or a leg extension, might as well just go home. Seated calf raise machine. That's adequate. It's rated appropriately. It's a little underrated, a little overrated. It is, honestly, it's getting close to overrated. I said it. I went there. I said that. I think the seated calf raise machine is getting closer to overrated. I got to keep my eye out for that. My strength coach machine forecast market. I'm a little bearish on seated calf raise. I have one. I like them. Are they getting a little too much attention? I kind of think so. I think the loading is great. Sure. Why doesn't a standing calf machine get that much love? Why don't we do standing calves? Why is it only the seated calf machine gets love? I don't know. That's why it's getting overrated. A little bit overrated on the seated calf machine. Not a bad machine. A little overrated. The Smith machine. Now, this is different. This is difficult. The Smith machine is underrated and overrated at the same time. And it's not an equilibrium. There are lots of benefits of a Smith machine. I think it is underrated for most gym goers. I went there. Yeah. Most gym goers think, man, if you use a Smith machine, that's not even weight, man. Might as well not have any load on it. But I think a lot of average gym goers could really benefit from a Smith machine. The overhead pressing on a Smith machine is awesome. The stability on it, the ability to do certain hinges and RDL, single leg stuff. So people use it for glute hip bridges. Seems to be very versatile. Even for performance, some of the throws and stuff are useful. But right now in the performance world, that Smith machine's getting a lot of love. Maybe a little too much love. Looking at you, Smith machine. I'm looking at you. You might be getting a little too much love in the performance world right now. Are you useful? Yes. Are you limited? Yes. Can you be useful for lots of people? Yes. Can you be overly appreciated? Absolutely. You're getting close to that. You are getting close to that, Mr. Smith machine. I'm watching you. You're on the edge. I think it's... They're cool. They're cool to like. People like to like a Smith machine. And they are helpful and useful. They're getting close to overrated, though. I've never seen anyone actually use a Smith machine with constant progression. I see it used, but I never see it used enough for constant, like a Hatfield squat, safety bar is still underrated in my opinion. Might be the hand supported safety squat, might be the most amazing squat ever. The Hatfield squat, wildly underrated, wildly great for progression, different tempos, stability, and it is better than a Smith machine. Yeah, I went there. It's better stability, better freedom of movement, more versatile. A safety squat bar with hand support is better than a Smith machine by a lot, in my opinion. Yeah, it is. So the Smith machine, while it is cool because it's been hated on for so many years and does have lots of benefit, is not better than a safety squat bar for lower body movements. The Smith machine does have some unique stuff with some throws that you could do, and that's fine. Not everyone's going to be doing, it's a very small population going to be doing bench press throws. But for that population, I suppose it could be a little underrated. But right now, a little bit overrated. Here we go. We're nearing the end here, folks. Last couple. A chin-up bar. A chin-up bar hanging in your house is underrated. I used to have that growing up, and that was the thing to have. That was like the cool days when you just had the perfect push-up and a chin-up bar, and you're like, screw it. I'm going to be calisthenics. Calisthenics, what the hell the word is. Lord of body weight. A chin-up bar in your house is dope. Going by, cranking out some reps when you pass by a doorway, absolutely awesome. Super dope. I absolutely ruined doorways in my house with that bar. Stuck the bar out there, just absolutely tear up the wall. But do I love it? Yeah. Is that sick? Do I want one now as I'm looking at my doorway while I'm doing this podcast? 1000%. Will my wife let me? Probably not. Is it a smart idea to not have one? To not ruin my door frame? Probably. Is it still sick to have? Because I can do shirtless pull-ups in my house and have just a constant back pump and a bicep pump throughout the day? Yes. Being dope at pull-ups, dope? Yes. Great take. A chin-up bar, big fan. Plus you can do some hanging leg. Oh, so sick. So sick. No equipment at all, but a good training partner. Yeah. Training partner. That's undeniable, though. I think a training partner is wildly underrated. Wildly. It's not equipment, though, so I got to give it a pass. But it is very underrated. I'm not even going to dive into it. It's underrated. We'll do it for a different time. Underrated. Someone said, okay, a couple other ones. Steel clubs. I've never used them. I can't even speak on them. I can't speak. Sorry. And the last one, jump rope. So few dollars for a high ROI. Can be taken anywhere. Yeah. You know what? I think a jump rope is awesome because no one likes jumping in place. Jumping in place is dumb. You could imagine doing a jump rope, but in place. What's also really cool is you can add music to your jump ropes. You can do some rhythm stuff. And I thought jump ropes were going to make a comeback for a moment in time. I thought they're becoming close to being overrated. It kind of caught a lot of momentum and then they stopped. But I think jump ropes are awesome. I don't think they're awesome, but very easy to overdo. They're kind of like like spicy hot wings. They're great, but you just can't have too many. It's regrettable at that point. You'll be sore forever in your ankles if you do too much jump rope. Calves or soleus, it's so easy to do too much loading. It's fun and enjoyable. Its strength is its own weakness. The fact that it's a great tool and so fun and engaging, you could do it. Remember jump rope for heart? You just jump rope for something. I'm not really sure what it was for, but it was, I believe, a charity event. I remember called Jump Rope for Heart. I was like 7 or something when we did it. Got a t-shirt, white t-shirt with a heart with like a jump rope on it, and you jump how many times something. Whatever, it's fun. The point of it is, my gosh, Max, where are you going? It's fun, enjoyable. It's up there with a hula hoop and a skip it. Those are 3 massively dope things. I actually had a skip it. I used one the other day, and it's not as cool as you remember, to be honest with you. Smacked my ankle and it really hurt. A hula hoop is dope. I think a hula hoop is pretty cool for proprioception and awareness of your hips. Maybe I'm going to buy a hula hoop because of that. I think a hula hoop should make a comeback. Man, this podcast might be helping me more than it's helping you. I might go buy a hula hoop. Can you imagine just posting a bunch of hula hoops on TikTok and Instagram, like hip warm up? Hot damn. What an idea. I'm glad you guys came to listen. Now I have an idea. You might have an idea. You can post it, I guess. You can tag me in it. A little hula hoop action. Will you buy a hula hoop? Walmart? I went to Walmart. I'd be questioned if I bought a bunch of hula hoops. How do my athletes feel if I just came with a bunch of like hula hoops? Remember the ones with like the beads in it? And it when you went around? I never was that good. Some people were pretty sick at it. They could like walk in hula hoop. Golly, my mind is racing right now. Well, I guess I'm done for the day. I'm distracted by my own thoughts. And that was our last bit of information anyway. That was our overrated, underrated, rated segment of exercise. Ask Strength Coach Twitter. What do you think? And they gave us the answer. So I appreciate y'all as always. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you all have a good one. Take care and enjoy.